The women of Shaheen Bagh should not move. The protests at Shaheen Bagh should not stop. The court asked the police to look into the issue of traffic while keeping in mind that law and order is kept in place. The Delhi police in turn said that they will not be using force to evict protesters and hope they will comply. And while it is true that the traffic situation in the area has become a problem, today I look into why we must fight for Shaheen Bagh to stay put, because I hate to break it to you, traffic inconvenience is a much smaller problem in the face of Indians potentially being stripped of their citizenship. First, let's look at why and where these barricades were put in the first place and if the need for them ever was there. This is an overview of Shaheen Bagh and the areas around it. The Kalindi Kunj bridge over the Yamuna connects Delhi and Noida. Now the Shaheen Bagh protest is happening here on a stretch roughly 150 meters long. The police, however, has blocked the entire road marked from here to here, begging us to ask the question, why did this entire section need to be blocked off due to a small protest happening in this area? Like former journalist Bilal Zaidi pointed out in his Facebook post, why can't these Shaheen Bagh women move to some open maidan or a park and let the road be open to the public? Because in all of Okla, with a population of over 3 lakh people, we don't have a maidan. We don't have parks. We grew up playing on the streets and roads. The only public land available was given away to a massive plastic burn-in plant. You kept all the good parts of the city with you. You have parks, you have clubs, and you have playgrounds. You don't share. We are unauthorized. And it is true, isn't it? Delhi has very clear Musalmanon ke ilake, the smaller cramped areas with electricity and sanitation problems, hardly any proper schools. These places were further demonized after the Batla House encounter, and people there were quickly deemed terrorist sympathizers. With Muslims being denied housing in posh areas, they started carrying with them a feeling of being othered, which quickly made them cramp up in small areas where they felt a sense of belonging. That's how we found ourselves Muslim ghettos, which are very much a reality in the heart of a city like Delhi. They're there because that's exactly where they live. How do you expect mothers to carry their babies and travel over long distances to protest? So really, what maidans should they protest in, and why expect them to care about inconvenience from traffic jams? But here's the thing, they do still care. Just like we have been making way for ambulances all this while, we can make way for school buses too. We're open to a discussion, but we won't move until the CAA and NRC are scrapped, said Hina Ashraf, a 30-year-old protester, to The Print. My question to you is this. Do you really expect no inconvenience when people are literally fighting for their identity as Indians? And does your inconvenience from traffic weigh much in front of their ordeal? Why are we expecting people to shift base and think of commuters when we can't think of an entire community being threatened, ridiculed, humiliated by the government at the brink of losing their rights as citizens? Does our convenience hold more than the Constitution's value falling like a pack of cards? Now I speak for this cause, the cause that fights for equality, the cause that fights for the rights of minorities, the rights of the poor, the rights of the marginalized. Shaheen Bagh and its strong women who have refused to move regardless of the cold, the abuse, the criticism, are a symbol for the strength the most downtrodden of this country look for in such dark times. Shaheen Bagh invites people of all faith and causes to join in, be it farmers from Punjab or students from JNU. It welcomes people with open arms. Shaheen Bagh has become a constant reminder for people across the country to not stop fighting the powers that be and to not give up in the face of adversity. People ask, but what will such sit-in protests do? Why should people be inconvenienced? What are the results we are looking for? Well, let's have some examples speak for me. Such an occupation was seen in Egypt's Tahrir Square, most recently with the Egyptian Revolution, which started on 25th January 2011, where millions of protesters gathered protesting the increase in police brutality, amongst other issues, and demanded that President Mubarak resign. On 11th February 2011, Vice President Omar Suleiman announced exactly that. A wave of similar demonstrations were seen in Ukraine, which began on the night of 21st November 2013, when the president refused to sign an agreement to become part of the EU. Public protests on the Independence Square started where protesters refused to move from. These protesters were brutally attacked by the police, yet they refused to move. Eventually, the president fled the country. So why are these sit-in protests important, you ask? Because they mean business. Because they're a loud declaration of the common man who lives off his daily wage, saying enough is enough, we want what we want, and we will not leave till we get it. Because they fuel the fire of rebellion that connects all the members of resistance. If Shaheen Bagh falls, so will the fight. Truly, Shaheen Bagh has become the heart of the anti-CAA protests, and a few privileged groups who file petitions because their children have to wake up early and because they're stuck in jams is not a good enough reason to make the heart stop beating.